I don't see him changing anything, to be honest. If there's one change, you might play Nisbet up top instead of Lyndon Dykes. That might be a change, possibly. But otherwise, I'm really, really looking forward to this because I think we can do them.
It is day 11 of Euro 2020, and lurking in the tartan corner, equipped with a smile on his face. Very warm welcome to bookmakers.co.uk. Alan, the fortune teller, McInally, fresh from backing the draw at Wembley. England 0, Scotland 0. A happy Alan McInally.
Yeah, it was a really, really great performance, wasn't it? There's been obviously a lot of negativity from the English camp, from not being aggressive enough and being almost too negative. But you've got to say that Stevie Clarke shuffled the pack. He brings in Colin McGregor. He goes back to Theo McTominay on the right-hand side. Tierney made a big difference for us, Tom. He really did. Huge difference. Kept Lyndon Dykes. And listen, he's not an top international football player, but you can only ask him one thing. Give us everything. He got himself in and around the England defence. And I thought him and Shea Adams did okay. Really good. But O'Donnell down the right-hand side was a big plus for as well. And of course, we have our own young starlet in Billy Gilmore. You're all talking about Foden, etc., etc. Well, we have Billy Gilmore, and he was absolutely brilliant.
Alan, what I saw was a proud, staunch, solid, classy rearguard action, but one actually that had its own chances at the other end of the pitch. Is it going too far to say that actually Scotland, should they have won?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't say Stevie Clarke went out not to try and win the game. So we take a point because it sets the game up on Tuesday brilliantly when we play Croatia at Wembley on Tuesday night. The chances we had, there was certainly a couple of chances for England early doors. I think Sterling had one, certainly Foden, or Mount had one rather. Stones hit the post. But we had, one cleared off the line from Lyndon Dykes late on, and Shea Adams had a shot early doors. It was blocked. It was actually a good game. I enjoyed the game. I wasn't as nervous as I thought I was going to be because I think the way we played, I was quite happy. And there's always the opportunity, obviously, for the other team to put you under pressure. But I just thought everything was fine for us, genuinely. And we played a big part, in parts of the game when we had to, 20 minutes in, and then after an hour, 65 minutes. But I think we finished the better of the two teams. No question about that. And it's a big point for us. Should we have won? It would have been nice for one of them to win. And you and I have already spoken about this on bookmakers.com, Tom. We have struggled to score goals. And that's going to be the one on Tuesday night that hopefully won't, send us packing after 3 games that we haven't scored a goal and we only get, if we drew 0-0, we get 2 points, which is, I think, would be unfair with the way the lads have performed.
Yeah, listen, we'll come on to Billy Gilmore. We'll come on to Croatia. But just one more on this theme. Is it evidence that actually in tournament football, the way in which you can have all the superstars you want, you can have every fancy formation, but in this instance, the proven value of cohesion, spirit, motivation, and a rousing team talk sent them out there like a pack of rabid dogs. They wanted that. And in many ways, that actually was the levelling off of the two teams. Yeah,
I agree. I think I won't criticise England too much because England are a very good football team and have some fabulous players that I have spoken constantly highly over. But it did look as if we wanted it more. We didn't look frightened. We didn't look on the back foot. And England seemed to carry the bulk of the pressure and didn't perform like they can. They certainly didn't put us under any sustained pressure. And we certainly looked as though, and I'll go back to Stevie Clarke, because he took a bit of stick from the first game and he decided to go with, he actually started Turnbull against the Dutch in the friendly play, but he started Callum McGregor, decided to bring him in, stayed with O'Donnell, and a big call to play a 19-year-old in the middle of the park against England. Big call to play Gilmore. But he knows how good he is. So did Chelsea. And it definitely looked as though we wanted it more, which is a kind of slight on England to a certain extent, and they better get their finger out because they'll have to want it against the Czech Republic if they're going to top the group.
And just talk to me in more detail about Steve Clarke, because he got some flack after the Czech Republic game. Some of it fair, some of it definitely a little bit reactionary after a disappointing first result. This is the same manager who's guided his team through 2 penalty shootouts, a first tournament in 23 years. That in itself is a mighty achievement. he had big decisions, big calls to make on Friday night, and boy, did he make them. Well done, Steve Clarke.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, again, we've spoken about it. I've spoken about Stevie Clarke. I mean, I've known Stephen for, my goodness, such a long time. And I think his call against England was not only, pretty ballsy, but, in the direction of, this is what we need to do to get a result. This is who we're going to be playing against. This is how we're going to play. And I just wonder whether he's, he probably sat in his hotel room after the game and thought, damn it, we couldn't, we really could have won that, genuinely. And all of a sudden, the optimism, 23 years it is. It was 1996, I think. So the World Cup was 1998. The Euros was 96, I think was the last time we played then. But our optimism all of a sudden has become so much bigger because of the way we performed against England. And out with a spectacular goal. If that doesn't go in, then we might sneak something against the Czech Republic. We didn't. And obviously, as an international manager, you're going to get some negativity. But all of a sudden, that has changed hugely round, and he's now getting the pat in the back that he should be getting all the time. We've qualified. In 2 years, we have become a team that no one really wants to play anymore, to a team that was thinking, we'll turn over Scotland, no problem. And that's not been the case now. If we can get a goal scorer, then we'll do all right.
And of course, that's a team loaded with young players lauded, rightly so, and celebrated by the Tartan Army. We were on the ground on Friday night, based with Scottish supporters in and around Wembley. And I know this new theme tune about I Can Boogie. Oh, but Alan, boy, did they party. People talk about the Scottish fans, but I promise you, you don't need telling. When you see it firsthand, you will not see a more enthusiastic, loyal, devoted, energetic, lively bunch of people. They had some party. And I tell you what, surely, I know there are only a few in the stadium, but the players must have been fully aware that something in the region of 20,000 people came down to London and got behind their team. That must have been huge motivation, as it was when you were playing. Yeah,
I think you and I spoke about this as well, briefly, about the team talk that Stevie Clarke would have to make. I've spoken about the trip in the bus going to the stadium, and would it be the same for the lads because they wouldn't see the amount of people. The amount of people in London on Friday was unbelievable. I got the train to London, and I was standing on the platform, and I wasn't getting that particular train. I was getting the next one, and obviously a couple of lads were on the having a couple of beers and stuff, and they saw me, and they all ran out the train and were dancing with me, like giving it, doing great, and the guy's giving it. You need to get back in the train, lads, because the train has to go because there's another one coming. And they were like, yay, see you again, big man. Back in the train, and away they went. And it was like just fantastic feeling, and that expectancy and the optimism even before the game. So God only knows what the train was like going back. It must have been absolutely fantastic.
I actually get the impression the train going back was probably the quietest London to Glasgow train has ever been, because I get the impression that at least 75% of the boys probably stayed out all night, went to Euston or King's Cross or wherever it might be, and probably hopped on and had their first sleep for about 36 hours. But what we can also say is that our very own Alan McInally is single-handedly responsible for bringing the British rail network grinding to a halt on a valuable Friday. You've got questions to answer, young man, about that, but also about Croatia, because it all comes down to one now. And as we've seen, this Scotland team is one that's equipped for knockout football, for cup final football, for one-off situations. When you look at this Croatia game at Hampden Park, home advantage, are they beatable? And if so, where are their weaknesses? Because you've been quite vocal in your criticism and voicing your doubts about this current Croatia team.
Well, I still stand by that they're nowhere near the team they were 3 years ago. And obviously there's an ageing thing going in there. Modric is 37, 38, whatever he is. But you do have the likes of Perisic and Kramaric, etc., etc. There's still some good players in there. But thinking that they were going to go all the way like they have done deep in other competitions, I just don't see it. I don't see a team that's better than France. I don't see a team that's better than Belgium. I don't see a team that's better than Italy. To be honest, I certainly didn't see a team nil, and I didn't think it particularly well. We have a wonderful opportunity. We genuinely do. The result against England has set this up for us just brilliant. Now, we need to take the chances. When I say that, I mean we need to score. The chances we make, we need to score. I think we'll need to get 2 goals. And we are certainly capable of doing so against this Croatian team. But then again, of course, Croatia know the situation they're in as well. They have to make sure they beat us. So it sets up for a wonderful, wonderful night of football. I just hope that Scotland play with the same intensity and passion as we did against England, and we will create chances against Croatia. Whether or not we take them is another matter. And defensively, we will have to be rock solid, because we know there will be a spell that Croatia will have us under pressure. And we need to make sure, hopefully, David Marshall, who presumably will be in goal, we'll have one of his good nights, and we'll get there. The problem I have is not necessarily the amount of ball that they will have in terms of the majority of possession. It's keeping them at a distance where they can't hurt us. And I think I don't see him changing into it when we start talking about team choices, Tom. I don't see him changing anything, to be honest. If there's one change, you might play Nisbet up top instead of Lyndon Dykes. That might be a change, possibly. But otherwise, I'm really, really looking forward to this, because I think we can do them.
And as you say, they need a goal. They quite possibly need 2 goals, and to keep it tight at the back if they're going to sneak through in 3rd place. If they are going to get a goal, and we've been here before and the obvious names pop up, but given the way the team have been playing, and given the shape and the formation, etc., and given the potential change with Nisbet coming alongside Che Adams, who is going to provide a or some goals?
Well, those 2, hopefully. And even if Lyndon Dykes plays, then hopefully has an opportunity. I think it just showed you how important Tierney was for us on the left side of 3, because it released Robertson to go further. I thought the 2 of them were absolutely fantastic. I thought O'Donnell on the right-hand side played his part hugely. I really do. And we're going to have to get McGinn. And allowing the way that we played, and even with McGregor and Gilmore, it allows McGinn to go further forward. And I like that. I like him getting into areas at the edge of the box where he can maybe get a goal. Listen, I don't care who scores. I don't care. It's David Marshall in the 90th minute. I don't care. I just want us to win. I want us to score, and I want us to win. And if we do that, that'll be fantastic. Thanks very much. We'll be in the knockout stages for the first time. So where those goals come from, I don't care. But what we have to do is we have to keep believing and keep creating chances. And eventually one of them will drop to somebody, and it'll burst the back of the net.
It will burst the back of the net. Something that nearly burst the news headlines over the weekend was this, and this is a bit left field, but humour me now, because I know you'll have been following this story. A little bit of teasing in the press from the Scots about a certain Jack Grealish, suggesting that he had lovely calves, and that the way to get under his skin, etc. Now, is this something new, Alan, or is this something that has always bubbled away? Did this go on when you were at Scotland International, or is this something that's just crept in with given that everything's immediate, the news is 1,000 miles an hour, and there's 100 million different portals, or did this kind of mischief go on forever and a day? Yeah,
but that was a rather lovely mischief of John McGinn to tell the fullback and everybody else, Stephen O'Donnell, that how good you are. Look, your calves are just gorgeous, and your hair's lovely, and all that. Just to try, it was more in my time that how can you get in this team? You're rubbish, by the way. It was one of them, really. It was, rather than something nice to say, it was normally a bit of sledging going on. But yeah, listen, trust me. I had a nice relationship with Paul Gascoigne. He used to call me something, I used to call him, and it always do. But if there's a % chance that you can maybe just have someone, just their equilibrium is not just what you would like, then we know how to get Jack Grealish. Just tell him he's gorgeous, his calves are fantastic, and he'll be thinking about something else and not football. It's a great story, though, isn't it? It's a brilliant. It is a brilliant story to come out of such a huge, momentous football match, England against Scotland.
Well, it's been a brilliant Euro so far, I have to say. I think it's been the shot in the arm collectively that we all needed. The shot in the arm that Scotland needs is a victory against Croatia and a first ever tournament qualification from the group stage. On Friday morning, we put the spotlight on you. You took out your crystal ball. You said it will be a draw at Wembley Stadium. You were correct. Scotland, adept at this knockout style football. What's the Alan McInally bookmakers.co.uk prediction for Scotland, Croatia in Hampden Park?
mean, there's a bet with my heart and a bet with my head. I'm not taking Croatia lightly, as much as I am optimistic for sure. I'm going to go, it's going to be tighter. It's going to be so tight because the chances we get, I'm not convinced we have, you know, that out and out goal scorer. I'll be gutted if it finishes 1-1 because it won't be enough. So I'm going to have to go for us to stop them scoring and we get a 1-0. Remember, we were 0-0 against Israel through in penalties, 1-1 against Serbia through in penalties. No, we've already been beaten 2-0 by the Czech Republic. Unlucky not to score. We got a good 0-0 against England, which, to be fair, every Scottish player would have taken, every Scottish fan would have taken because it sets up Tuesday night. We've got to win. We've got to win 1-0. That's what I'm hoping. 1-0 to Scotland, and I will be a very, very happy boy.
And what about, just as a PS, 1-0 to Scotland, 94 minutes on the clock, word filters through to the players, the penalty kings of Scotland, 1-0 will not be enough. The ref points to the spot. Who steps up? Who has the bottle, the nerve, the courage, with an absolute piece of history and an entire nation and all of European football spotlight shining on them? Who steps up and tucks away that penalty to send Scotland through? And what would they be feeling at that moment? I know you didn't always take penalties, but you told us you took a few. Wowee, what a moment that would be.
Who takes the pen? Am I giving it to Tierney, McGinn, or Robertson? Tierney, McGinn, Robertson. Tierney, McGinn, Robertson. Let's go McGinn. He's been fantastic. He drives our midfield. And I think if he gets the chance to take a pen, I'll go for John McGinn. John McGinn penalty, 1-0. Fantastic.
And he tucks it in, bottom left, keeper floundering, Scotland in the last 16. And then really, truly, every single Scotsman will be saying those three words, I can boogie, including you, Alan McInally. Thank you as ever.
Thank you, Tom.
Good job. See you soon.